clicking on the video. My name is Leah, and we're going to be recapping Real Housewives of Orange County. This is season 16. I think this is like episode 12 or 13. I don't know, but it'll be in the title below. I'm sick of Gina. I'm sick of Emily. Heather getting on my nerves. Jen is boring. And I can't believe Shannon is the fun one this season. Give me a new season because I'm tired of being here. And Noella, I'm over her too. The episode opens up where it left off on last episode, where we got Gina and Shannon, arguing back and forth about Gina saying Shannon is jealous of her and of Gina and Heather's relationship. Shannon is like, why would I be jealous of your relationship? I'm the happiest I've ever been in my life. I got a good man. I got a great relationship with my kids, and my businesses are doing well. What am I jealous of your friendship with Heather for? So then Gina's like, well, you're not really happy for me. And I'm like, okay. So then she was like, you keep saying that I'm arrogant. And Gina's like, well, you keep saying I'm arrogant. And Shannon's like, you are to think that I'm jealous of you and your relationship with Heather. So then they're going back and forth. Then Shannon brings up, like, you said something to me that still hurts me, where you question whether or not I've had friends or not. And then Gina's like, well, it's true. And I'm like, Gina, shut up, ma'am. So then they're going back and forth. We see on the other side, it's Heather, Emily, Gina, and they're talking about the whole situation. I don't even know where Noella is. John is looking over there like, he gonna ride for Shannon, and I'm happy for Shannon because David never rode for Shannon like that. And I hate that Gina was like, you know what, Shannon, I'm really sorry for you. I feel bad for you. I feel bad that and then she did that whole thing. I'm happy in my life. I'm the happiest. I'm confident about myself. Why can't I be arrogant? Why can't I be arrogant? Shut up. And then Gina walks away, and then Shannon says, you're an asshole. And like that night ends. Then Shannon goes to talk to Emily, and Emily was like, well, you did say she was being arrogant. And Shannon was like, yeah, I said that because she is. To think I'm jealous of her. So then we see, what's her name? Gina inside. It's some brunette lady who's supposed to be her friend. Sorry I didn't get your name, ma'am. And they're trying to hash it out. Like, her friend's like, you want to go talk to her again? She's like, no, I don't want to talk to her. Blah, blah, blah. Then we have a moment between Noella and Heather where Heather's trying to like explain like Gina's side of the story to Shannon, and Shannon don't really want to hear it. And Noella was wrong because Noella kept like interjecting, and she even said like, I don't agree with your opinion of the situation, which she could have kept to herself, because Noella could have allowed Heather to like get out her feelings, but we know Noella don't see it for Heather, so she wasn't gonna let her talk. So Shannon goes tell John. John is over it. John said F that. John said F her. She don't need to be your friend. She ain't a good person. Let her go. And I said, you know what? You right, John. And Shannon is like rubbing his leg, and she starts crying, and I kind of felt bad for her because I was just like, dang, like, why are y'all like hell bent on making it seem like Shannon is being so bad when it's like we've had seasons of Shannon being wackadoo, like being a psycho. Like, we've had seasons of her being like ill-tempered and like just taking things to the 9th degree for no reason. And the one time when she's not doing anything, y'all are like trying to paint this picture that she's just this, like, she's not a good friend. And granted, her constantly saying that she's a good friend and trying to prove it does lend itself to people being like, well, if you gotta constantly tell people that you're a good friend, are you really a good friend? Your actions would speak for himself. But I feel like in Shannon's defense, it's like y'all keep saying and trying to put this label on her, like she's jealous, she doesn't want to see y'all win, that she feels the need to constantly defend herself. So before the night is over, we see Jen asking Ryan, like, how did the talk go? It was awkward, but he was like, no, you did a good job. Like, you really did a good job. She was happy. Then Heather sits down with Shannon and she's like, can we talk? Heather brings up the past. Shannon don't want to go back in the past. But I got where Heather was coming from. Because Shannon tells Heather, like, I don't like being labeled with things and I haven't done those things. And Heather's whole thing is like, well, you did the same thing to me. And she was like, you called me pretentious. You said I talked too much. I did all that. And then Shannon's like, well, girl, you lied on me too. You said I was angry. I kicked you out of my house. And I was just like, I don't think that's where she was going, Shannon. But you could tell that Shannon's defenses were up. So she ain't want to hear nothing Heather got to say. But they kissed and like, you know, they was like, I bid you adieu. You bid me adieu. Chuck the deuces. Shannon said, me and my man getting out of here. Which I didn't blame her. So it's the next day and we see Noella at home and she has a lady over who's like she's a conscious relationship coach, I guess. I ain't get the lady name. But basically we found out that Noella is into all of like, you know, the tarot, the crystals, the all the stuff that's not really a part of like conventional like religion and stuff like that, which there's nothing wrong with that. You know, I believe in the good Lord up above. But I think her saying like all these things she partakes in, I also think says a lot about her in the sense that like she's not grounded, if that makes sense. Like I follow people online who are like into like a lot, they're more spiritual than religious, but the practices that they speak about and they talk about, they know like they're very proficient in those practices. Whereas when Noella was rattling off these things, it felt like she just does things for like does these spiritual acts when they're in trend, if that makes sense. And that's not to like knock her for doing it, but I also think it says a lot about like her character in a sense, or like where she is in her life, because she speaks to the coach and she talks to the lady, well, the counselor, and she talks to the lady about her relationship with her father. Unfortunately, I found out that her dad was like a well-known black weatherman, and he was like one of the first guys to like be diagnosed with like sickle cell, I think. And if you don't know, it's a common disease that mainly primarily affects black people when your red blood cells are sickle shaped and they get stuck. Like your blood gets stuck as it flows through your body, and it causes a lot of issues. Like people have passed away, especially athletes, because a lot like sometimes they don't get enough body to their throughout their body, like, or at least to their heart, and oftentimes they have heart attacks or their heart stops because they don't have blood pumping through their heart. So it's sad. But basically her father had sickle cell. We ended up finding out that their relationship really kind of like stopped when she was 13. He was like in and out of her life, and the only time he really wanted to be around her is when he needed like his family, so he could present this front of being like this family man. And she said Noella said something really important when she said she realized that the way she related to men was that she makes men look good. She knows she makes men look good. And she also talked about how she put her father on a pedestal when he didn't deserve it, which is true. Like if he wasn't there for you in the capacity that he should have been, then she shouldn't have put him on a pedestal. But when you're young, it's weird that kids oftentimes think they're the issue when it's like, no, the adult is the issue. Because she was talking about how she felt like if she was perfect, then he would want to be around her. If she was pretty, got the best grades, was the most athletic, he would want to be in her life. And I do think it says a lot about Noella's relationship with her father when like they show pictures of her and her dad. There's only that one picture. Like we have never seen a different picture of her and her father, which lends to credit to her that maybe like they legitimately did not have a relationship. But I guess now they're working on a relationship. He lives in well, we can get Noelle out the way. Unfortunately, by the end of the episode, we found out that her dad did pass away. They were talking through email, but unfortunately, he died alone in his home in Hawaii. And Noella and her mom have a conversation, and her mom, like Noella, basically says that he died the way he wanted to die. He wouldn't have wanted to die hooked up to machines. But one regret she has is that her dad never met her children. And she just was like very protective of her kids. And she said that's one of her one regrets, that she was too protective of them, that she didn't allow her dad to meet her kids. And her main thing was like she didn't want them to get hurt like she got hurt. Which, I mean, it's understandable, but I feel like she shouldn't beat herself up so much, because mainly it's your dad's fault. Like, if you don't show somebody that you're going to keep them safe, that you're going to protect their feelings and emotions and garner an environment that's healthy, then why would you want your kids around there? So ultimately you did the right decision, but I also understand that regret, thinking that like, maybe he would have changed being around the kids, because that's what it always happens. It's like the grandparents are the best grandparents to the grandkids because they know they messed up with their own kids. And maybe she wanted that relationship, like her kids to have that relationship, and now they won't ever have that. But it was sad. Like the way she broke down, I was like, dang, she honestly, as much as Noella has gotten on my nerves, she really has been through a lot this whole entire season. From being engaged, no, not engaged, but being married, to your husband just leaving you destitute and broke, and you trying to figure out what to do with your life, to now your daddy passing away after you and him were trying to garner a better relationship. Sis just been through it. So the next scene we see is Emily and Gina. We at Gina's house. They have a psychic over there. Gina says she just been feeling real nasty ever since they did the sweat lodge thing. And I guess what happens, which I do believe this too, where they were doing this ritual, but they never closed it. That's why they always, in every movie you see, they always tell you to follow through. Finish the ritual. Because she basically said that they opened up a portal. Like, they opened it, so when you don't close or finish a ritual, you leave a door open for something to come through. Emily says she's been feeling that way. And so the psychic was there to, like, take whatever was there on her out. It was funny. I'm not even gonna lie, because she was like the way she was doing it, and I was just like, oh, this looked fake. But I'm not gonna knock it, because I do believe in that type of stuff. My only thing was like, why are you doing this in your house? That's the part that like didn't register well with me, because I'm like, if you're feeling this ickiness and this like uncomfortableness, because she said ever since after the whole sweat lodge thing, she said she had trouble going to sleep, and she said she had been seeing things. And Emily was like, do you think you were hallucinating? And she was like, no. She was like, I really think I've been seeing these things. So I'm like, okay. My thing is like, once it's out, why would you do that in your home with your kids and your man? Like, you think those things ain't gonna hop on kids? And then you wonder why your kid crazy. We would have been outside. No lie. I'd have been like, so we going outside? Can we do this outside? Because I don't want this in my house. I don't want this in my home. Like, y'all act like residual stuff just don't be around. That's why I feel like it's fake. Like, I felt like some of that was fake. Because really, if it was me, we're doing this outside. I like away from my home so it don't follow me back to the house. Y'all ain't seen enough horror movies to know like them things just don't be going away. So the next thing we see is Heather and Jen. And y'all, I have to give Jen credit because Jen was speaking my language. So they're talking about the whole Shannon versus Gina thing. And Jen said a lot. Jen was like, why does Gina care so much about what Shannon being happy for her? And Jen was like, the only time I care about someone patting me on the back or needing to be pat on the back as if I really care about their opinion. So maybe Gina cares way more about Shannon's opinion than she leads on. And I was like, thank you, Jen. Like, thank you. Because Heather over there trying to make excuses for Gina. And I'm like, there are no excuses. Gina sounds stupid. She sounds stupid and she's annoying. And I can't with her. We then see Emily FaceTime Shannon. And I guess their next trip is when they go into the mountains. Because they was like, Mexico was too hot. And I was like, I'd rather be in Mexico instead of the mountains. Give me a beach, some tequila, and some nice weather. I'm good. I don't want to be in the mountains with no bears. So that's where they're going. Emily asked about whether or not Shannon and Shannon and Gina were going to have a conversation. And Shannon was like, I'm going to reach out to her. My thing is, Emily's clear as day is stirring the pot and trying to make it a situation. And I'm glad that Shannon is peeping that, because that's whose ass I would be on at the reunion. Like, if I was Shannon, I would be on Emily's neck and I would be on Gina's neck, because it doesn't make sense that they're trying to make this a thing that she's jealous of our relationship, Heather, or she's not happy for me. Why does someone need to be happy for you? Like, if you're happy for yourself and you're glad that this situation has panned out for you, or you are proud of your accomplishments, why do you need someone to care? Why? She annoys me. Like, Gina annoys me. Like, she a groupie, she a thirst bucket, and she's annoying. And she is not even like Target chic. Gina is very Walmart, bottom tier Walmart fashions, and y'all keep bringing her around. Y'all saw what she wore at the reunion. Like, she from Forever 21. We got a reunion. I don't care if it was $850. It's ugly. Like someone said, she should have been on Vanderpump's Rules with that outfit. She looked a mess. So then it's Gina's launch party. We see her friend there again that we saw at Jen's party that she was having to talk to after she got into it with Shannon. And the girl is over there about to cry for Gina. Talk about, we're so proud of you. And it's Gina's launch party for her skincare line. And okay, they're having it at the lady's house. That should tell you, like, Gina is low tier for Real Housewives. She can't even have a launch party at her own house or buy a venue. She has to have it at her friend's house. So I'm like, what is she doing here I don't want her here anymore. I really don't. We could get rid of Gina, or y'all could get rid of Emily, keep Gina and add somebody. Either or can go, because I don't want neither one anymore. So it's the launch. Everybody comes. Everyone is, Noella comes, and everyone's like appreciative of her coming. They're hugging on her, giving her what she needs, love and kindness. Heather didn't know, because I guess Noella didn't tell her. So Heather felt bad. She went to go check on her. I find it highly, here's the thing that I find funny. And I didn't talk about that in the beginning, and this is going to be the last thing to talk about, because honestly, the party wrapped at the end. Gina gave a speech about, thanking her man for being there. Her parents were there. But that's what we're going to really talk about. Gina said she was upset about Shannon constantly bringing up Michael, her attorney, or her attorney friend that helped Gina when Gina was in trouble with that DUI, when she was about to get arrested in front of her kids. And Gina was like, you always bring that up. And they do a flashback. And the thing about it is, Gina brings it up. Gina brought it up when they're in the car with Heather, it was like the first or second episode when Heather gave the tour of her home. They were sitting in the car and they were talking about getting drinks, and Gina made mention about oh, such and such, I got a DUI. And Heather was like, oh, you got a DUI? And then Shannon was like, which I saved her from. Granted, no one wants to constantly hear somebody boast about how they saved you, but it was as much as Gina was protesting about how Shannon is seeking self-validation for helping her out. I was like, at the end of the day, dumbass, you would be in jail Like if Heather, not Heather, if Shannon had not went out on a limb and got her friend to help you, Gina, you would be behind bars. Like you would have got locked up. And at the end, like in front of your kids. And granted, yeah, it happened 3 years ago, but you're the one who brings it up. Nobody else brings it up. And what was funny was that at the party, Gina's parents were like singing Shannon's praises. Like they were so happy that Shannon gave Michael to Gina. They were saying like, you know, he changed her life. He put her on a different path. And it's like, girl, your family knows without Shannon, you would have been locked up. They wouldn't let you out. Shout out to Akon. So it's just like, it kills me. It kills me. And it's like, you can also tell that Gina and Emily don't have storylines. They don't have consistent storylines with, like, they really don't. Noella has her whole divorce situation with Sweet James. That's been a consistent thread throughout the story. Heather and her gay children has been a consistent thread throughout her story. And, you know, like just us getting used to her being back. Dr. Jen's whole thing is with her husband and possible divorce and separation. And then you have Shannon. Shannon has her, you know, we've seen her businesses and things of that nature and her dealing with her children. And it's kind of like Gina and Emily don't really have a consistent storyline. So, of course, they're going to come at Shannon. But I don't think they understand that it's it's backfiring. Because you're saying Shannon is jealous. She's been acting like she's been slighting you in many ways. But the show hasn't shown it. And Shannon is not a production favorite like a Portia or like a Kyle that they would protect her, or Ramona, that they would protect that person and not show Shannon being a nut job. So it makes you look crazy and you're pulling things out your Gina and Emily. So I'm sick of that. I'm sick of it. But that is it. That is all. Remember to be bravely authentic. Drop down in the comments below and let me know your thoughts. Deuces.